Good morning, everyone. Um, Mayor Brianna Chacon, she had a loss in her family, and she was scheduled to do some stuff with our youth, and so we're unfortunately unable to do that. So I'm going to try to fill that time slot by answering some questions that I have received. Recently-ish about just how to start a business and how to maintain your business and all of that. So I am, I think, actually sharing the wrong screen, which is totally awesome. Let me flip that around. Here we go. Okay. So what you saw was our financials for Princeton, Texas Diverse. And I want to kind of explain how to get there. Let's get this party started. Just kind of walk you through the steps of starting a business and then just how to maintain it, how to keep those records, all of that. So here we go. I created a file for our business and it's shared between the founders. And so this is where we share all of it. It's on a Google Drive. And so this is where we have kept all of the documentation that we've needed. So the very first step is to get your EIN, if that's what you're wanting to do, which is your federal tax identification number, which is super, super easy. And you just go to their website, the IRS website. And now they have this determine your eligibility, and so it's more electronic now, so that's really awesome, and it'll walk you through it. An EIN can be good if you are a sole proprietor or just, which is just an individual who's doing business. It helps you not have to share your social security number, but if you're just doing applications and stuff, that may not be something you're really worried about. So this is mainly if you are starting up a business, you're going to want to go ahead and get your EIN. So that's for your federal. And then in Texas, you're also going to want to apply for you're going to want to be state recognized in Texas. And so what you're going to need to do is, I think this is actually the form. It's provided for you. You can just Google that enables you to be recognized by the state, and make sure you use consistent naming, or you're going to end up paying $100 for a DBA or something to change names around. So those two forms will get you your acknowledgement saying, hey, you are good to go. Or nope, that was our acknowledgement that we are exempt, but you'll get your certificate of formation from the Office of the Secretary of the state, and they'll say that, hey, you are now an organization in Texas. So you will you'll have your federal and you'll have your state. If you were worried about somebody stealing your name, you're going to want to lock that down. Honestly, I can't remember how to do that right now. I've never had to do that, and for our business, we weren't really thinking people might steal PTX Diverse or Princeton, Texas Diverse, so we didn't apply for that. So here is, again, this is how you get your EIN on the IRS website. And then recently I was asked about what the tax schedule is and how do you know to make those tax payments. And so with the IRS, here is your tax schedule. And for my buddy, I looked it up as to what is the general rule for making those quarterly tax payments to the IRS. Um, if you expect to owe at least $1,000 at the end of the year when you're filing your taxes, that's when you're going to want to do it. Just, read that if it applies. Um, if you are, I don't, for that friend, I have a friend who asked me, her son just recently started doing some part-time work as a sole proprietor. He's going to be 1099 at the end of the year, which means that he's going to owe his portion of taxes and then the employer portion of taxes because he is considered self-employed when you are a 1099 contractor. So she was curious if uh, she needed to start making quarterly payments. So in her case, I don't know that you are necessarily going to end up owing $1,000. Um, so I don't know that I would necessarily worry about it because you're going to be able to make that payment at the end of the year. So unless you're going to end up owing something that you are incapable of paying, I really don't think that you need to make those quarterly payments. Um, and then I pulled up also for Texas, what we are required to pay. So generally, we're just going to pay our sales and use and franchise taxes. Um, and this is how you generally know who is going to pay that. So you're going to need to track, what you charge in taxes, and you'll be able to do that online. Everything is really easy now, set up as far as paying your taxes and calculating that generally. So for the state of Texas, yep, just go to the comptroller's website and go to your necessary forms. And I did the who must report and pay. So that leads us to, how do you track all of this information? And I am a big fan of QuickBooks. Um, that's what I have been using for way too long, 20 years, something like prior to the Intuit buying them. So this is our personal, I am so sorry whenever I share my screen, it goes really slow, but this is PTX Diverse's accounting system. And so we are set up in QuickBooks. And the great thing about it is that it connects your banking, and you're capable of checking your accounts. And it will tell you, what transactions you need to review. And you can code them to whatever is necessary. And that will help build your financials. And I know for a lot of people, whenever you're starting up a business, you have to provide several years of financials. So let's just kind of go over the basics. Um, so generally what you're going to be looking for is a profit and loss. And that's just your revenue less your expenses. And so, of course, with PTX Diverse, we don't exactly have a lot of income, but there it is. So we had financial donations. We had those computer donations for the school at the beginning of the year. And then we've had consultant time donations. So people have given their time, and we definitely want to recognize that, give them that tax credit so they can apply that in their taxes. So that is our income. So we have our total income at 735, and we were only open about half a year. Uh, so then we have our expenses of the advertising of getting information out there. Um, and then we have actually a community closet, which people, it's in the works, so whatever. Um, and then what we have done otherwise, what we've needed to pay for our accounting expenses to be able to pay for QuickBooks and stuff, um, and then paying out to everything that we use. You're going to have a lot more information generally. So this is your profit and loss, and this is going to tell you how much income you made at the end of the year. And at the end of the year, that is going to roll into your balance sheet. And your balance sheet is just pretty much going to tell you, you know, what is your financial standing as of this date. So your profit and loss is for a period of time. So you can also, something I like to do in QuickBooks is break it out actually into months. I like to see when I do financial statement analysis, um, I like to compare my months to make sure that all of my transactions have been consistent. Um, so that's not, yeah, that's going to take too long to pull up. But so you can compare your months and your profit and loss, and that will tell you your net income for each month. Um, Whenever you review a balance sheet, that's just going to tell you your financial standing as of that date with your assets, your liabilities, and your equity. So your assets are like what you own, your bank account, your house, or you know what the facility that you're in, cars, stuff like that are assets. Liabilities are credit cards, any loans that you have. And then equity is, you know, what you've put into the company, um, and retained earnings is going to be it's your net income, what you're rolling over. Okay. Um, because we don't have much, I went ahead and pulled up another nonprofit of the city of Princeton. And I also have, I had to, for my I think for my bachelor's at the end, I had to write a financial statement analysis between competitors. And I think I did Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. So I pulled up Starbucks financials or most recent financial statement as well. So I wanted to be able to review that. Um, so again, we have our revenue, and whenever it's nonprofit, it's not technically an expense, it's an expenditure. So you're going to see different naming conventions in that. So if you're working for a nonprofit, you'll have those different naming conventions. Also with nonprofit, you have restricted funds and committed funds, which is going to be where it's restricted to something. If like I worked several years for, I was the accountant for the North Texas and the Southwestern states for the Unitarian Universalist churches. And whenever you have something that's restricted or committed, then it's restricted to only, you know, that land, or if somebody makes a donation and they say this is for the community garden, then it is for the community garden. Um, so uh, you have your restricted funds, and then you have your committed, and then you have your unassigned, which is what you're capable of using as you see fit or as needed. So for Princeton, we have our revenues, which is, of course, taxes, charges for services, I guess, you know, interest earned, miscellaneous, I'm not sure. Um, Capital lease is assets, essentially. Intergovernmental is going to be where you're going to have, it's like intercompany. Uh, so that on the for-profit side. So you might have multiple businesses and they may share a space, but only one business is going to pay for that space. So you may have an intercompany transfer. So what this is going to be county or state or federal funds that Princeton plans to receive. And of course, this is the actual versus the but. Um, this is the actual for 2018 and the budget for the next year. Um, so oftentimes what is also useful is to compare your actual to your budget to see how you've done. Um, so then again, we go down to our expenditures for our nonprofit. And so for our general government, we're expecting to spend almost $1 million and yeah, and public safety operations. We have this broken out, fleet maintenance. Um, so we have all of our expenses, total expenditures, so we break it down. Um, I guess we're budgeting for, or it was budgeted for 2019, 2020 to have a loss of 63,000. Um, so um, going over to the for-profit side, if you're planning out your P&L, or you want to compare. And this is, again, this is a comparison of time periods. So let's see, over the years, so in 2018, 2019, 2020, their company operated stores, you know, it's fairly consistent. So when you look across other depreciation and amortization, that's going to be whenever you have an asset, you know, that asset doesn't stay at 100% forever. So you're going to take the useful life and you depreciate that annually to say, hey, this isn't worth what it used to be anymore. And then, you know, it'll be depreciated down to zero at some point. So we have all of their income broken out here. And then we have, oh gosh, I was trying to just find some information quickly. Income tax expense, income, net gain, where are their expenses? Anyway, here's their balance sheet. And again, this tells you where they were at a specific point in time. So that tells you that, hey, they had greater cash in the bank than what they did last year. They had greater short-term investments. Also, if you are creating a balance sheet, what you're going to want to do is, the term is liquidity, and the greater liquidity, the higher up it needs to be. So liquidity is the ability to convert it into cash. So cash, of course, is first. Then I guess the short-term investments, you know, they'll be able to get that into cash. Accounts receivable is what money people owe you. Accounts payable is what you owe, and that's down here in your liabilities. So all of these current assets are what they expect to be highly liquid. And then we have the long-term assets and other things that can be sold to come down to their total assets that they have. And then again, you break it down into your liabilities and shareholders' equity. And it is a balance sheet, so that should balance out at the end. Your assets will equal your liabilities and your equity. So because you think about it, like when you buy something, then like on credit, you're going to have the asset up here and the liability down here. So it works out, right? And balances out. So you will have your, again, short term where money's going out quickly, and then long term. And then, so we come down, hey, they owe their liabilities of 37,000, which is probably millions or goodness knows. I didn't look at the conversion. But then they have their equity section, which is shareholders. And equity is, again, what you have put into it. And that can be shareholders or individuals. So you have your shareholders, and because people have put into it, it's reducing the liabilities to knock it down to that 29,000. Let's see, anything else? You can, in QuickBooks, you can pull up these financial statements. QuickBooks is more expensive, but I find it to be useful. You are also able to track according to job profitability. So if you have like a construction project, you can create a specific job to track that to, and you'd be able to see the profitability of that. Um, so I'm hoping that this helped with the people that are looking to start a business. Feel free to comment or send a message and ask questions if you have any. Um, I hope that I answered most questions. Um, if you are okay, going back to my friend's son that is starting his business, don't get a QuickBooks. You're not going to need that. This helped me because I am able to provide reports as to donors, and well, and because we're legally a 501c3 and we have to file financial statements, and so it helps me track it better. So um, again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. It is Women's History Month, and we are working to encourage women to, take that step, start a business. Systemically and historically, women are less likely to own businesses. So, ladies, here you go. If you have any questions, reach out. I will be more than happy to help you as capable. So I hope that this has helped. And just Google away on, how to make a business plan. And they have, like I said, with the state, they have it spelled out as to how to do your certificate of formation. So everything is pretty electronic and pretty easy to find these days, but get it done, y'all. Whatever you need help with, let us know how we can help you. And everybody have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend.